So we've been looking at the stock front bumper on our 2022 Jeep Mojave for far too long. We need to swap it out for something better. Have I ever worked on one of these modern Jeeps? No, I haven't. I got a 53 that I hope to work on here soon. Have I ever done one of these bumpers? No, I haven't. But you're never going to learn how to do this stuff if you don't jump in and get your hands dirty. So we got us a new front bumper here, and I know what you're thinking. Boy, that thing is not going to be very aerodynamic, is it? But it's not what's on the outside that matters. It's what's on the inside that counts. And before we look at what's on the inside, let's go over the basic parameters of what we wanted for this vehicle. We did not want a stubby bumper. It had to be 3/4 or full width. Needed to have a winch plate and a bull bar. And it also needed to retain the factory fog lights. So let's get this thing out of the box and we'll show you what we bought. So this is the one we ended up with. It's an EAG bumper. And when we originally purchased this thing, which was actually a little over a year ago, it was listed as only fitting a JK. But now I guess they list them as fitting the JK and that they will also fit the JL and the JT, but it would take some modifications to fit on a Mojave and possibly with a Rubicon as well. But evidently there's a lot of controversy there about whether Mojave and Rubicon, whether the skid plates are the same or not, and I don't get into any of that stuff. This is not personally my Jeep, but it is part of our fleet. So I'm not that into all that stuff. I'm just the dummy doing all the work here. But when we unpacked it, I was actually surprised at within the price range of this thing, because there was no way we were going to put a $2,000 bumper on this Jeep. That was not the budget. This put us well within the budget of what we were trying to go for. And this was purchased on sale, so it was actually only like $400. And for $400, I was actually surprised at how well it was packaged, because it had some very heavy pieces here to cover all this stuff up so that it didn't chip off all the coatings, and had a strip across the bottom to protect all of that too, so it didn't get beat up in shipping. And it even come with instructions, written instructions with pictures. I'll probably be using the pictures instead of the words myself, you know. But that's getting to be a pretty rare thing these days on a lot of aftermarket stuff. You always have to go online now, and we'll see if the restrictions are any good. Most of the time when I do aftermarket stuff, the instructions are, at best. But we'll find out. So before tearing into it, we always want to start by measuring the height of the vehicle first, because once you add a bumper and a winch on the front, you're adding extra weight to the nose of the vehicle, and it's going to make the front end sag a little bit. And to help prevent bottoming out after adding all that extra weight, you want to put a leveling kit on them. But you need to know how much the front end drops so you can get the correct leveling kit. So we start out, you can measure up to here if you want, say to one of these rivets here or something, and take a measurement, either whatever, some point that you want to go for. My preference is always use some hard point on the chassis. Like what I'll do here is come in here and measure, say, to the bottom of this tube here. That's just my background with a racing family. I always will use hard points on the chassis rather than anything on the body. So we got these little push-ins that hold all this stuff in. One of the first things you need to take out here. Even if you're not going to need these again, don't throw them away. Keep them, put them in a baggie somewhere. You're going to need them eventually on something if you have any kind of a newer car that you keep for any length of time.
Yes.
So once you get that out of there, don't forget to disconnect the fog lights here. The last thing you want to do is have this bumper off and be hanging onto it and have them wires still hanging there and be trying to fumble with that. So now there's going to be 8 nuts back here, 4 on each side that we got to get out of there, and this thing should come off. So now that we got all those nuts off this thing, should just pop right off there. I don't see anything else holding it on. Yep, that's all that holds it on. It's a whole lot easier than what the internet keeps telling us it takes to get this apart. So now we need to offer up the bumper onto the front of the Jeep to find out how well it fits and what kind of clearance we have, or if we need to clearance anything, because from what everything on the internet tells us, the big issue is the skid plate, especially on the Mojave version, and I guess possibly the Rubicon as well. So let's see what it looks like. Okay, one side. All right. All right, so that didn't want to go on because this bracket here, once I pulled it apart, actually flexed out a little bit and wasn't leaving a hole there big enough to quite slide the new bumper on, which is why I had trouble getting the old one off as well. So now, let's see what we got. Now, these are gonna take a few minutes to line all these bolts up. So it took just a little bit of fiddling with the bolts because they do move just enough within the bumper that it really took more than just one person to get them all lined up. But it appears this bumper fits with 0 modifications to the skid pan. So next we need to get the fog lights out of the bumper here to be able to put in the other bumper, and then you got a bunch more of these push-ins here to take these off of both sides, and then just some screws here with 7mm heads to get these out of the bumper. Now it seems like the biggest issue we're actually going to have here is the wiring harness. I've already undone all the clips all the way across here, and it will not move. You can't just snake it through. So it looks like we're going to have to take the 2 halves of the bumper apart in order to get that out, which is all these screws all the way around here and all the way across the bottom. But they're all 7mm too, and with the little zip gun, it won't take very long. But we'll separate those and then see what the wiring harness is actually attached to underneath there. Yeah. It's got these little Yep, it's attached in the bottom there. So we just need to clear this, both sides. So they attach it. Oh, I guess it is these things. These didn't look like they were part of that. With taking these out, with pushing these through, we might have been able to get it out potentially. But they looked like completely different clips, like they weren't the right ones to take apart. They look like plastic rivets holding something else in rather than clips for the wiring harness. So we got that out. I still think though, with all the clips, they would have been hanging up too much and it'd have been a real pain in the butt, even harder to take out, trying to snake it through than just splitting the bumper. So I think that was the better way to go. So according to the instructions, the JK lights will fit over. The JLs need this, and there's nothing in there for the JT. But this is a, I guess, they got it all over their website as patent pending adapter bracket to make it fit. But looks like it's going to fit just fine without that adapter bracket. So this is why it takes two people to get all the bolt holes lined up, because these things move around enough. You need at least one person to either hold it in place and then someone else go back and forth, or one person at either end holding it up and bumping these around until they line up to these holes properly. The internet told us this was going to be really difficult to do, and it's going to be a real pain in the butt, but I guess, not everything's true on the internet like they say. So what we did was we just knocked off all of these long clip holders off the wiring harness, strung it up through the bull bar, bring it around here on either side, and I just loosely put a zip tie on here to keep it in place. And it's nice and neat and tidy installation, and this should clip right on to back to the wiring harness, no problem. And I'm happy with that. So after getting it up in place, we just loosely put on all the washers and nuts and everything, and then made sure it was all centered. Got our brackets back in place and everything before as well. And then once it was centered, tightened everything down. Now we just have to hook up our wiring here, and then we can get the weight of the winch on there, set all that on there, and check our height again to see where we're at. So now we got the D-rings installed. Ooh, double Ds. According to the latest descriptions on the EAG bumpers, they may not actually come with these anymore, but this one did come with them. And we've got our super winch that came off the total JK that this was replacing, sitting in place just to get all the weight on here so that we could measure the new height for the suspension to see how much it dropped. Now we bounced it a little bit first to make sure it settled in. Looks like it dropped about 3/8 of an inch. So now we know what we need for the leveling kit. And we won't worry about installing the winch until we get the leveling kit and get this thing all cleaned up, because it's a little bit grody at the moment. And we also might end up putting a new fairlead on it at the same time.